Hey everyone, I am back to read another Choose Your Own Adventure book. This one is called, The Dragon's Den. It's by Richard Breitfeld, or written by Richard Breitfeld. It's Choose Your Own Adventure number 33. And the illustrations are by Paul Abrams. And whoops, forgot to put my glasses on. I was wondering why I was having trouble reading it. Okay, that's better. Yes, so number 33. Here is the cover art. Hey, Rachel. Cover art. There we go. All right, now here's some the back art too. The art on the back cover. The back art. It's the back art. All right. Treasure awaits you in the Dragon's Den. You're on the quest of a dragon's fabulous treasure. With the help of the wizard Zarkon, you've reached the top of a tower near the Dragon's Den. Suddenly, you hear banging on the tower door. It's Tarlane, the evil dragon master. You must escape. Zarkon lifts his magic staff, and a flying dragon appears at the tower's edge. If you try a daring escape by jumping on the dragon's head, turn to page 88. If you decide to wait and take your chances with Tarlane, turn to page 106. No matter what you choose, your search for the treasure will be dangerous. You might end up waist deep in gold and jewels, or battling a fire lizard in the depths of the dragon's den. No jumping on dragons' heads. No, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, we probably will not see any dragons. Just like we didn't see any sharks. Oh man, Paul Abrams. Yeah, I saw like one picture. It was like some sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons like fantasy picture. While I was at work, looking at it on my phone, not my work computer, because that could have been a problem. Zarkon is a medicine. Is it like the Lord of the Rings, where it's like, is it a antidepressant or is it a Lord of the Rings character? Yes. Yes, you might be battling a fire lizard in the depths of the Dragon's Den. What happens next in the story? It all depends on the choices you make. How does the story end? Only you can find out. And the best part is that you can keep reading and rereading until you've had not one, but many incredibly daring experiences. Yeah, that's funny. Like, the book doesn't say anything about fighting Nazis, and I mean, I kind of flipped through the book a little bit, but I didn't like trying to look at it too much so that I can still be surprised when I read it. I like being a little surprised. Oh man, you look at it on your work computer. Yeah, that would be a problem for sure. That was like the old school like 80s Dungeon Dragons where like all the women were like barely wearing any clothing. It's like, how are they supposed to like stay safe if like their armor is like basically non-existent? Anyways. Okay. Hi, Sue. All right, here we go. And as usual, kids can't stop reading the Choose Your Own Adventure stories. They just can't stop. It's the same four kids. Same four kids. They can't stop reading them. Oh yeah, young Indiana Jones, Choose Your Own Adventure. So yeah, Nazis. I hate these guys. We all hate these guys. All right, here's some treasure, I guess. I mean, do we really want all that treasure? Do we really need that much treasure? I don't think so. Seems like a little excessive. So this was published June 1984. It's for ages 10 and up. And it's for Ellen. This is for Ellen Steiber. See, these are different kids. Oh, there are at least 8 kids. Okay. This one doesn't have the 7. Oh, and there's no 17-year-old this time. Okay. They're 12, 11, 9, and another 11-year-old. Oh, and the children. And teachers like the Choose Your Own Adventure books, too. I think the early ones, they actually specifically mentioned some of the teachers' names. I guess they stopped doing that. Paul Abrams' illustrations aren't for age 10. Well, hopefully the ones in this book are. Hopefully he's not doing, like, I don't know, whatever I'm thinking of. They don't even do that. Like, I mean, I'm glad they don't. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, like the newer books now, like they've definitely updated them so that it's removed all those crazy illustrations where like the men are wearing like full armor and like the women are basically wearing like chainmail bikinis or something. The 17-year-old says they like how the books make them feel in control of their life. That is kind of sad. Rest are magical armor. Yeah, I guess they can be. Oh yeah, Boston University workspaces. Yeah, that's probably not the best place to be looking at those pictures. Okay, I should start reading this. Do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many adventures you can have while searching for the treasure of the Dragon's Den. From time to time, as you read along, you will be asked to make a choice. Your choice may lead to success or disaster. The adventures you have will be the direct result of the decisions you make. After you make your choice, follow the instructions to see what happens to you next. Think carefully before you make each choice, for few have ever returned from the dragon's domain. One more word of advice. Beware the Dragon Master. He is ruthless and unpredictable. Good luck. Alright, I'm just gonna turn this on too. Alright. Oh, I can't do that. Okay. It is long ago. You are in the time of knights and castles and dragons. You are a wanderer, traveling from one small medieval kingdom to another. At this moment, you are in search of an adventure that will test all of your abilities and perhaps lead you to your fortune. You are traveling through a small kingdom when you see scorched trees, burned fields, and deserted houses. The remaining local people are too terrified even to talk about what has happened, particularly with the stranger, but you know that there could be only one cause of this destruction: dragons. Yes. You also know that dragons are notorious thieves who hoard the treasure they steal. Here's your chance for some real excitement. For sure. Time for some real excitement. It is long ago. Okay. Hey, it's long ago. Like, if you were a character in medieval times, would you... Well, I mean, you wouldn't be aware that it was long ago. It's pretty cool living long ago. I'm so self-aware that it's long ago compared to, you know, in the future time. Why are we Peter Pan? I'm not sure. It's almost like the character could be male or female, which is kind of neat, you know. But it's almost like I'm picturing like those stories where like medieval times or something where like a woman can't be by themselves, so they have to like pretend that they're a man. So she's got like long hair and she's like hiding it in her hat or something. I made up a whole story about this person. I'm sure it's wrong. Dying from stepping on a nail. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty exciting. Check your shoes before you go outside. Make sure they don't have any holes in them. That evening, while dining at a small inn, you chance to overhear two people talking at a nearby table. Treasure is being discussed, and a map is being examined. You slip quietly from your seat and move into an empty chair at their table. Taken by surprise, they look at you suspiciously. Now, about this treasure, you say in a low voice. Surely you need an experienced hand to help you find it. The two conspirators stand up and are about to bolt for the door, but you hold your hand up and they sit down again. Now, let's have a look at that map, you say with a grin. Map? What map? One of them says. Boke, have you seen any maps? No, the other replies. He is a small, thin boy, about your age. I don't know anything about... The one you have tucked into the top of your boot, you interrupt. Are you a king's agent? Says the heavier one, a look of fear on his face. On my honor as a free wanderer, I'm not, you say. That's always how you get people to tell you about the treasure maps. You just go right up to their table and say, hey, let's talk more about this treasure that I overheard you talking about. I want in on this. Okay. Well, if you're not an agent, then you're going to get all three of us sent to the salt mines. The king's spies are all about. We better discuss this in my room. We can't all go upstairs at once. It would be too conspicuous. So we'll go one at a time. I'll go first. How can I trust that the two of you won't try to slip out the back of the inn, or even try to do me in upstairs, you ask? Bless me! We wouldn't do that. You seem to be, if you are what you seem, the one person we're looking for, says Boak. If you trust them and go up to the room, turn to page 10. If you don't trust them and insist on meeting outside, turn to page 58. On my honor as a free wanderer. Don't worry. You can trust me. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. A small, thin boy and a heavier one. Like how heavier? So let's trust everyone? We should trust them? Yeah, let's trust them. Yeah, definitely follow strange men to an isolated room at a dodgy inn. I mean, how do I know you won't kill me when I go up to your room? Oh, we wouldn't do that. You're the one person we're looking for. How's that? Hey, Rob. Hi, Beth. Yeah, I think we'll meet them outside. Seems to be the best thing to do here. See what happens. I think it would be better if we met outside, you say. I have a certain distrust of upstairs rooms. Okay. Very well, says Boak. We could meet at the end of the lane in an hour. But watch out for the king's patrols. They could be nasty. Boak and his friend leave by the back door of the inn. When almost an hour has gone by, you casually pay for your meal and ease out the front door. The lane is dark. Every so often a sliver of moon appears from behind a cloud and casts a pale light on the town, but your eyes are used to seeing in the dark. Far up the lane, you see Boak and his friend standing together by a post. You stride towards them in the darkness. You've almost reached them when you realize that there is something very wrong. Then you see that Boak and his friend are not just standing by the post, they're tied to it. Run for it, Boak shouts to you. It's a trap. Turn to page 71. Was there something where it said dragons? And I totally missed that. Oh, dragons. We don't need these dudes. I have a certain distrust of upstairs rooms. It's just a thing. Just like a weird fear that I have. It's just upstairs roomophobia. You turn and dash down the lane. Your way is suddenly blocked by dim shadows. Even though you can't see them clearly, your experience tells you that they are the king's guard, and you sense that their swords are drawn and pointed at you. You stand there for a moment, trying to decide what to do. One of the guards opens a lantern. Its beam falls on your face. That's the one, a woman's voice says. You remember that voice. It belongs to the serving girl who waited on you at the inn. She must have overheard you talking about the treasure map. Good work, Molly, says the guard holding the lantern. You hear the faint clink of coins being passed. On hearing that, you realize the guard must have put his sword back in his belt in order to give Molly the money, and he is the only one standing between you and a side street. Yeah, these guys hate Peter Pan, so you can get away from them. There's a trap. Here they are, coming after you. Yeah, it definitely does look like this guy does like illustrations for like comic books or something. Definitely has that style to it. If you try to rush by the guard and escape down the side street, turn to page 68. If you decide that you are outnumbered and you'd better wait, turn to page 23. Yeah, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes there, all carrying swords, it looks like, and helmets. I mean, yeah, and just like one kid. And we could try to escape, yeah. You better wait. Yeah, wait for what? I'll just wait for them to kill me. Or whatever it is they're going to do. Yeah, we can use their pixie dust. So we'll try to escape. Escape down that side street. I might make it. Escape. Alright, let's do it. You rush at the guard with the lantern. He is not prepared for your attack and falls backward to the ground, stunned. The lantern flies out of his hand and crashes into darkness on the road. You run with all your might down the street towards a bridge. An object whizzes by your head. Then another. Arrows! The guards have archers posted on the town wall, but you are fast, and the night is dark. You are halfway across the bridge when suddenly the moon reappears. An arrow strikes you in the back. Then another and another. You topple lifeless into the moat. Oh no. Wow, that's like some weird running that we're doing. That doesn't look right. I mean, that running style must be pretty painful. I don't know, but okay. Well, that didn't work out. Whoops. The night is dark and full, and full of arrows. Then another and another. And then another. Alright, so I guess we'll decide that we're outnumbered. And we're going to wait. Turn to page 23. Oh, where's 23? Here we go. There are just too many guards around. You'll have to try to escape later. The guards untie Boak and his friend, and then lead the three of you at sword point up to the castle. Take them to the dungeon, an officer of the guard orders. Alone, you are shoved inside a grim, barren stone cell. Its heavy iron door slams shut, and you can hear the guards marching away. Turn to page 28. The Peter Pan kid was the other kid, yeah. That was pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know if that's the quickest we've ever died. But yeah, it was pretty fast. Early the next morning, the guards come back for you. You are led up to the king's audience chamber. Boak and his friend are also there. What is the charge against these three? Demands the king. Conspiracy to hunt for treasure in secret, your highness, states one of the guards. Treasure, exclaims the king. What treasure? This is all a misunderstanding, says Boak. We heard a rumor that there might be treasure in a cave up on the mountain. We were on our way to the castle to report it to the authorities when we were stopped by your guard. A cave on a mountain, exclaims the king. There's only one mountain around here, and that's Dragon Mountain. Your highness, you start. We mustn't do anything, I repeat, anything, to rouse the dragons inside the mountain, the king says. If we do, they will swoop down and devastate my kingdom again. We haven't finished rebuilding from their last attack. Okay. There's no way to run a system of government. Come see the violence inherent in the system. I'm being repressed. Okay. Go on to the next page. They don't even go there. We don't go to that cave, that mountain. It's too dangerous. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. All right. Maybe the dragons can be stopped, you say. Bosh, snaps the king. Is that a swear or something? I didn't know if that was the name of a person. He's like, Bosh, snaps the king. Suddenly Bosh appears now. Bosh, snaps the king. My wizard, Zarkon, has been trying to stop them for years, and without success. Now if you're all so anxious to go into the mountain, a term in the salt mine should satisfy your curiosity. Take them away. You can't do that, shouts Boak. And why can't I? Demands the king. Because of this, Boak says, pulling off his cap. Turn to page 38. Because of this. Whatever this is. Long, blonde, shoulder-length hair tumbles free. I'm a girl, and my name is Virginia. Is Vergana, says the small, thin youth you know as Boak. On my word, exclaims the king. No, the salt mines wouldn't do for a girl. Frail things they are. Wouldn't last an hour in the mines. I resent that, exclaims Vergana. Women can do any job that a man can. Then why, in heaven's name, can't you work in the mines? Asks the king. Because it's not right for the times, says a heavy, low voice coming from a side door. My wizard, Zarkon, exclaims the king. I'm glad you're here. What am I to do about all this? Well, for this young lady, says Zarkon, how about a period of being a serving maid in the castle? As for the other two, I'd give them a choice between a short term in the mines or total banishment from the kingdom. The mines can't be too far from the cave with the treasure, you think. If you can escape, then... I'll take banishment, says Vergana's friend. The writing has gotten a little weird. Even their voices are fat. This is my sister, Labia. Vergana and Labia. This is my sister, Labia. Oh, God. Yeah, I thought it was Virginia for a moment. It's like Vergana. What? Maybe I'm not pronouncing this right. Vergana or something. I don't know. Wait, so how come like all this stuff is going on? Like we're about to be sent to the salt mines or banished, and we're like still thinking about the treasure? Like, it's like, dude, can you stop thinking about the treasure for like 2 seconds? Come on, go to the mines. If you choose a short term in the mines, turn to page 42. If you choose total banishment from the kingdom, turn to page 109. What's a short term in the mines? Like, what does that mean? I wonder if we fall in love with her. Maybe. The way they describe long, blonde, shoulder-length hair tumbles free. I don't know. Banishment? Go to the mines? I don't know. Total banishment equals total adventure. Banishment? Okay, I guess we'll do the banishment. $109. Oh, why is this page was folded? Let's do that. You are at home anywhere. It's like the last 2 years. You are at home anywhere, so banishment doesn't sound too bad. At least it's better than the salt mines. You and Vergana's friend are escorted under guard to the border of the kingdom and are warned not to come back. There's plenty of treasure in the world, and you will find lots of it in other places, but you will always wonder about the treasure of Dragon Mountain. And who's that dude in the background? There's like a bunch of treasure, and then there's like, is that a person, or is that like treasure that looks like a person? Yeah, it stopped there. As long as I have my Vergana, I can go anywhere. I'll always feel at home as long as my Vergana is with me. That's kind of a happy ending. We didn't die. Like, yeah, like Stephanie said, let's go to the mines. Let's do a short term in the mines. Is that a statue? Or where was that? Page 109. Yeah, that could be a statue. It's not very detailed. Okay. Yeah, Rob, I agree. I think it is a statue. Okay. All right, page 42. We're going to the mines. Men, we're going to the mines. For several weeks, you work and sleep in the mines. Your term as an observer is about up. Observer? I'm not actually doing any work in the mines. I'm just observing. On your last day, you are deep inside the maze-like complex of tunnels that make up the mine when you hear the sound of running feet and cries of panic. The guards come dashing by, followed by a number of prisoners. One of the last prisoners spots you standing by one of the big square pillars of salt that support the ceilings of the underground passageways. "Run for it," he shouts. "The king's men will be sealing off this part of the mine in a few minutes." Here we are, or here they are, running. Well, we're just standing there, not doing much of anything. Hi-ho. No, I don't think... I actually did see some dwarf-looking people in an earlier picture. Turn to page 47. I wonder if we'll meet them. Instantly you remember what you were told a few days earlier. If the miners accidentally break through into a dragon run, one of the many large tunnels carved by the dragons under the mountain, then that part of the mine is sealed off. You turn to follow the prisoner who warned you, then stop as you realize this accident might be a great way of getting into dragon territory. The dragon run may lead directly to a hoard of treasure. You can worry about how to get out of the mountain once you grab some of it. On the other hand, if you encounter a dragon, one puff of its breath can burn you to a cinder. You have to decide quickly. If you try to run back before they seal off this part of the mine, turn to page 99. If you decide to go forward and explore the dragon territory, turn to page 65. So, I think we're pretty well prepared to fight dragons because we've got a spoon in one hand, or a ladle or something, and then like a basket. So, should be fine. Get that trez. That treasure. Go forward. Do it. Yeah, let's get murdered by dragons. Yay! Sounds like fun. Alright, let's do it. I like this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Alright. Let's explore the dragon territory. What could possibly go wrong? The reason you chose the salt mines in the first place was to find dragon treasure. This may be your only chance. Carefully you rest the water jug against a pillar. You take one of the torches from its holder in the wall and walk cautiously down the same passageway the miners had fled. A few minutes later, you come to the spot where the diggers broke through into the dragon run. Part of the wall has collapsed. You stand before a gaping hole, pushing your torch through. You take a look. The tunnel is roughly circular with jagged walls. The floor, though, is relatively smooth. You climb through the hole into the tunnel. You walk briskly for what seems like hours. The sound of your footsteps echoes through the silent tunnel. Without knowing why, you stop and listen. Suddenly, your torch goes out. You are left in total darkness. Far off, you hear a faint, roaring sound. You walk a little farther, guided by the feel of the tunnel floor. You stop again. The roaring is louder this time. Then, far off down the tunnel, you see two small spots of red racing towards you. They feel a little sick. You feel a little sick, as you realize that they are probably the blazing eyes of a dragon, charging down the tunnel straight at you. Oh no. The Descent Part 3. Yeah, right. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Forward, not backward, upward, not downward, and always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom. Yeah, we should have brought some dragon treats with us. Did I show? Yeah, here we are. All right, page 62. Oh, that's cool. Not dead yet. You have only seconds to act. Frantically, you feel along the side of the tunnel. Luckily, you stumble into a deep recess in the wall, and none too soon, a dragon roars by a second later. You lie there, panting for breath, trying to pull yourself together. As you do, you feel a steady stream of cool air from somewhere above you. You stand up and feel along the wall. Above you, your searching fingers find a round hole. It might be a connecting passage to another tunnel. You've had enough of this particular dragon run for the moment. Using the rough stones of the alcove wall, you climb up to the opening and slide inside. Fortunately, the passageway isn't large enough to stand up in, and you have to walk bent over in a low crouch. You go on and on like this, stopping frequently to rest. Finally, you hear something up ahead, the sound of rushing water. Soon, the bottom of the passageway becomes damp, then gradually fills with water until it is waist high. You can feel the entrances to other tunnels to the sides, but you keep going straight along the one you are in. A dragon roars by. That's it. We're back to take your treasure again. Take your treasure. I'm gonna take all your treasure. Yeah, so many bad options. The tunnel ends suddenly at the edge of a broad river, flowing rapidly through a high cavern. The phosphorescence of the rushing water creates a dim glow, just enough for you to see to the other side. There you see a fairly continuous ledge, just above the waterline. The current seems strong, but you may be able to reach the ledge, even if you get carried some distance downstream before you reach it. Yeah, because those ones always work out, where it's like, yeah, you could probably reach it. It's probably, you can get there. If you try to swim across the river to the ledge on the other side, turn to page 98. If you decide to go back and try one of the branching tunnels, turn to page 115. And there we are in the water. Not having such a great time. Okay. A dim glow also describes this child's thinking abilities. There was a book called, a Choose Your Own Adventure book called You Are a Genius. I was reading the review for it, and it was saying the problem with books about being a genius is that you and the author, that neither of you are actually geniuses, so you can't actually be a genius. Trying to swim is probably the right choice because it sounds terrible. Yeah. Well, if we go back, like, they're all underwater, so I bet we won't drown. Yeah, I don't know what we should do. I mean, we might be able to swim across. I mean, both choices are pretty bad. Swim? Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna swim. That's that. Sounds like that's the general consensus. 98. You dive into the deep water and start swimming for the ledge. The current sweeps you downstream. Finally, you reach the other side, but the ledge is higher above the water than you thought. You have to try several times before you manage to pull yourself up. You sit there for a while, catching your breath. You have to decide which direction you will take. If you follow the river downstream, it should lead you out of the mountain and to safety. On the other hand, going upriver may lead you to new dangers, but it may also lead you to treasure. What's a little bit of danger when there's treasure to be found? If you go downstream, turn to page 90. If you go upstream, turn to page 104. So if we go downstream, that will get us out and keep us safe. If we go upstream, I don't want to go to new dangers. Just want to stay safe. The end. You live an okay life, and you find a little bit of treasure, but you never find the dragon treasure. The end. I'm an upstream girl. What if we'll run into that girl from earlier, Vergana? Seems like a lot of introductions and a lot of details there for like someone that we'll never see again. All right. Downstream. Downstream. Downstream is their time. Downstream, that's their time. Upstream. Upstream, that's our time. So should we I guess we'll try the downstream. Okay. Does seem easier to go downstream. do it. We'll try it out. Yeah, Goonies, exactly right. Upstream, upstream, that's their time. You follow the river downstream for quite a distance. The light grows a bit stronger in the tunnel. Then, far ahead, you see a bright spot of light. It must be the place where the river leaves the mountain. You decide to rest for a bit and then continue down to the exit. Turn to page 95. You sit down on the ledge with your back against the wall. Then, you notice a whistling sound above you. There's a hole of some sort in the wall over your head. You stand up again and are just about to investigate when you're startled by a face peering at you from a short distance away. It is the face of a dwarf. And here is the dwarf. Now, dwarf as in, like a fantasy creature in medieval times, not like, short person. Turn to page 67. Although they probably still use that word too back in this time period, so could be either one. All right, time for the hi-ho, hi-ho. Who are... You start. Just a moment, says the dwarf. Another is coming. A few seconds later, Zarkon comes into view, his staff glowing in the dim light. Zarkon, you exclaim. I remember you. You're the king's wizard. What are you doing here? For one thing, Zarkon says, I'm helping my friend Nolly here to get back safely to his people under this mountain. And you, I see, are still in search of treasure. That's right, you say. Then you have a choice, says Zarkon. You can go with Nolly and me to search for the land of the dwarves, and then let me help you find your treasure. Or you can follow that tunnel that starts up there on the wall. It leads directly to the dragon's den. But I must warn you that the second choice is a very dangerous one. Yeah, there probably is 7 of those guys. Zarkon. It sounds like Zircon. Like he wishes he was a real diamond, but a real precious jewel, but he really isn't. Yeah, Zarkon seems fine. I'm sure Zarkon's a cool dude. Totally trust him. If you decide to go to the land of the dwarves, turn to page 97. If you decide to take the tunnel that leads to the dragon's den, turn to page 81. Oh, Nolly. Oh, hello, Nolly. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nolly. Gnolly. Good Nolly, mate. So should we go with the dwarves? Or take the dragon's den tunnel? Dwarves. 2 votes for dwarves. Dwarves. 3 votes for dwarves. Sorry, Stephanie. It sounds like we're going with dwarves. Okay. I don't know, he might help. It sounds like Zarkon, he's like doing his own thing, and he's got his own motivations, but I don't know. I don't think we can like totally trust him, but I don't think he's like totally untrustworthy. Dwarves. 97. Page 97. Zarkon, Nolly, and you make your way back along the river. Suddenly, you are surrounded by small figures with crossbows. Nolly, one of them shouts, you've come back! The dwarves lead you to their banquet hall, where they prepare a feast in your honor. Zarkon, having finished his first mission, vanishes back into the mountain. Later, when you tell the dwarves of your quest for dragon treasure, they take you to a small observation hole high above the dragon's den. You feast your eyes on the treasure that is piled on the floor way below, but you also see the size of the dragons guarding it. You are quite satisfied when the dwarves give you a purse full of gold nuggets and lead you safely out of the mountain. I mean, we got some gold nuggets, I guess? Zarkon, Nolly, and Me was a great 70s sitcom. Yeah, it was really good. Crowdsourced absence of dragons. I don't want to trust him totally, but he didn't He didn't help us find the treasure at all. He just like disappeared. I guess we couldn't trust him. Exit Zarkon, absorbed by a mountain. Yeah, Zarkon kind of let us down there for real. Alright. You were right, Stephanie. You always have to go with the dragons. Even if it's dangerous. Okay, that's the same treasure from the other ending. Yeah, it's always showing the same well, it's a treasure that we always see, but it's like just out of reach. Alright, so we'll take the tunnel that leads to the dragon's den. Oh. You climb up into the tunnel leading to the dragon's den. The inside of the tunnel is so smooth that you can easily push yourself along. Just like the ocean under... Was that just like the ocean under the moon? Right? So smooth. Oh, alright. As the tunnel slants downward, it becomes steeper and steeper. You can't hold yourself back anymore. You are sliding out of control. Just when you think that nothing can save you, the tunnel gradually levels out, and you tumble to the stop behind a row of vertical bars. You are high above the dragon's den, and you are in big trouble. There is no way through the bars, and the tunnel is too steep and too slippery to climb back up. Eventually, Zarkon may find a way to rescue you, but for now you will stay where you are, trapped. The end. What, so Zarkon will find a way to rescue us to, like, retrieve our body? So, basically neither choice got us to the treasure. Well, that's sad. Yeah, that was a bad ending. Your two least favorite words on this page? That was page 81, right? Oh, what a ripoff. What were your two least favorite words, Rob? Yeah, still no dragons. No dragon descriptions? Alright, well maybe, instead of trying to leave the cave, go deeper into the cave. Maybe that was right? Maybe we should go upstream instead of downstream? Should we try that, I guess? Because then going upstream, yeah, going downstream, that led us out of the cave. And then all that other stuff. But if we go upstream, let's try that. Oh, okay. You walk upstream for what must be miles. Then the ledge ends at a small tunnel. You walk forward into the tunnel, even though you have to stoop over to do it. You come out into a large cavern. There is a faint light, just enough to see by. On the other side of the cavern, you can make out an enormous closed gate. You head towards it, but before you reach the gate, you find yourself surrounded by dozens of small creatures. You blink and look again. They are dwarves. Each of the dwarves is armed with a small crossbow. You raise your arm and start to speak, but you don't get a chance to finish. At the signal, all the dwarves fire at you, and though their arrows are small, they are deadly. Too bad. Ah, too bad. You're dead now. Too bad. Oh well. Gotta die sometime. That's too bad. Yeah, we got murdered by a bunch of dwarves. We got murdered by the seven dwarves. Little small arrows. Death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah, small arrows. Like one individual small arrow, not so bad. Too bad, pal. You're super dead. Wow. How do we, wow, how do we find the treasure? Man. So we did, I mean, I feel like getting captured was not so bad, because then we met Zarkon. And then we did the short term in the mines. So then we went forward and explored the dragon territory. Man, where did things go wrong here? What if we go to the upstairs room in the very beginning? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's try that. We will go to the upstairs room. We trust them. But does that mean if we go to the upstairs room, do we never meet Vergana? What if is this where I say the real treasure is the Vergana we met along the way? Could be. I mean, the dwarf ending where we got killed by all the dwarves, or the dwarf ending where they gave us some gold nuggets? Stephanie, seemed to be the one where we got the gold. I mean, yeah, the one where we got the gold nuggets, that wasn't bad. I mean, we didn't die, and they gave us a little bit of treasure. All right, we'll trust them and go up to the room. Be trusting this time. Once secure in the privacy of his room, the heavy man begins his story. My name is Reynold. A week ago, I found a man lying wounded way up on Dragon Mountain. I tried to help him, but he was past help. Just before he died, he gave me a map. What does the map show, you ask? Reynold unfolds a small piece of parchment. The location of a cave high up on the side of the mountain. Whether there is treasure in the cave, I don't know. But in the last minutes of his life, the man mumbled something about an immense hoard of dragon treasure beneath the earth. Tell me how to get to this cave, you say, and I'll give you part of any treasure I find. Turn to page 15. Heavy Man will probably have it. Yeah, Heavy Man, well, he'll give you some of the treasure in exchange for snacks. That's probably... Yeah, that was some treasure. Getting some gold nuggets. Page 15. Well, I think I can find the cave, says Boak. I'd like to see what's inside it myself. Have you forgotten the King's Guard? Asks Reynold. There's a little used path that we can take to get by the guard. The less they know about our comings and goings, the better. Reynold shakes his head. I'll stay here and wait for you to return. I don't want anything to do with dragons. Settled then, you say. Boak and I will leave at dawn. After a few hours of sleep, you and Boak start off at daybreak. You follow a narrow, twisting street to the edge of town, and then a narrow path up into the low hills beyond. As you near Dragon Mountain, the trail becomes steeper and steeper. Just as you are crossing a shadowy clearing, you and Boak are riveted to the ground by an unseen and powerful force. I mean, maybe we won't find any treasure, but we might find out more about Boak. Find out that they're not actually Boak. If it ain't Boak, don't fix it. A burst of hearty laughter comes from the trees as a tall, bearded figure wearing a long, elaborately patterned cloak steps into the clearing. He carries a long, carved staff. The wizard, Zarkon! Exclaims Boak. So, you would dare to enter the cave in the mountain, Zarkon says. You would go down to the dragon's den itself, I'll wager, for treasure. Don't look so surprised. I've just been reading your minds. Nothing much to that. Zarkon laughs again. And you, Vergana, disguised as a boy, no less, he says, pointing his staff at Boak. With that, Boak's hat flies off, revealing a full head of beautiful blonde hair, which, coming undone, falls to her shoulders. You're an old meddler, Zarkon, says Boak, whom you realize you must now call Vergana. Stay out of this. We mean to find our fortunes and return. Zarkon frowns. Watch your tongue, young lady. I could easily change you into a tadpole. Luckily, I like your spirit. Then he turns to you, And you, wanderer, are the one I have waited for. Your guidance will be invaluable to me. Let me introduce you to a friend. And here's Zarkon. He likes her. He likes her spirit. Yeah, that's what he likes. He totally likes her spirit. This old dude. You know. I dream of Regana with the long blonde hair. I've just been reading her minds. That's all. No biggie. Turn to page 33. The small figure of a dwarf child jumps into view. This is Nolly, one of the few dwarves ever to have left Dragon Mountain, Zarkon continues. 3 years ago, he fell into an underground stream that carried him out of the mountain over a waterfall. Miraculously unharmed, he was found on the bank of the lake below by a woodcutter. Since then, Nolly has been raised by the woodcutter's family. Now he wants to go back into the mountain and return to his own family. Since my mission takes me to Dragon Mountain, I have promised to help him find his home. If you and Vergana will join us, perhaps we can help each other. Yeah, just like that worked out last time where he helped us. We don't have much choice, Vergana whispers. Exactly, agrees Zarkon. Now, if memory serves me, we can take this path straight up the mountain. A rough climb, but it's the fastest way. Or we can take the other path, which follows a longer, winding route. That way will leave us in better shape to explore the cave once we get there. We'll let our young adventurer decide. If your ESP tells you to go straight up to the mountain, turn to page no. If you decide to go straight up the mountain, turn to page 18. If you decide to take a winding route, turn to page 86. I mean, every day is a winding route. Every day is a winding... Oh, and the long and winding road. Yeah, there's a lot of songs about winding roads, winding routes. We are very good at being dragon bait. Yeah, Zarkon will be like, run up to that corner over there and let the dragon chase you while I get some treasure, and then I'll save you for sure. Yeah, why is he looking at us? Let's let you decide this important decision. Winding like the print on his robe. He does have a cool pattern on his robe. It's pretty nifty. So take the winding route. Long and that leads to right. Okay. Page 86. I don't see any use in wearing ourselves out, you say, as you start up the winding path. The four of you climb easily and steadily higher until the woods start to thin out. Ahead, through the last of the trees, you see a broad alpine meadow sloping up towards the top of the mountain high above you. You are halfway across the meadow when you hear noises behind you. Turning, you see a large group of soldiers on horseback charging towards you. I mean, Zarkon's with us though, right? So we don't have to worry. I don't like the looks of that, you say. We haven't got much of a chance out here in the open if they attack us. Don't worry, says Zarkon. I recognize my friend Valerian in the lead. He is the captain of the King's Guard. The horsemen gallow up to you and dismount. Zarkon, I'm glad that I found you, Valerian says. The king requests your urgent return to the castle. But I'm on an important mission, says Zarkon. Prince Rupert has fallen ill, Valerian says. Again, Zarkon exclaims. This time it appears more serious than the times before, says Valerian. Your presence always seems to cure him. I know, Zarkon says with a sigh. I guess I'll have to go. He is, after all, the heir to the throne. Half of your party will return with me to the castle. The other half will provide safe escort for my companions to a point high on the mountain. I'm sorry, Zarkon, Valerian says, but my orders do not include... Zarkon raises his staff and glowers. I advise you to do as I say, he commands. You know how I get when I'm mad. Don't get him angry. You wouldn't like Zarkon when he's angry. Okay, so we don't have Zarkon around anymore, but now we have some of the King's Guard. That's kind of cool. Prince Rupert. Yeah, he's all about sun and lollipops. He's probably just hungover. For some reason, when you show up, he gets better. We don't know what it is. What magical elixir are you mixing for him? As if I could forget, Valerian groans. All right, we'll bend the rules a bit. Valerian divides up the troop. 5 of the guard, including himself, will return with Zarkon. The other 5 will escort you up the mountain. I will rejoin you soon, I hope, Zarkon calls as he jumps on the back of Valerian's horse. You watch as they gallop back down the mountain. Then you, Vergana, and Nolly each climb up behind a horseman and continue on up the mountain. Turn to page 66. Valerian. Whenever we have trouble sleeping, Valerian will just talk to us for a while, tell us a story, and then we'll fall asleep. It is late afternoon when you see a tower at the top of the mountain. At the same time, the horses stop before a strange structure on the ground, a low fence of thick metal, threads running in both directions as far as you can see. You dismount, touch one of the threads, and instantly jerk your arm back in pain. The fence is burning hot. You try to step over the metal threads, but one of the troopers reaches over and grabs you. This is the dragon line, he says. The king has forbidden us to cross it. The dragons will know if we do. How, you ask? The dragons are supposed to be under the mountain, miles away. I know not what evil magic is at play here, replies the trooper, but I would not tempt fate. You may go on at your own risk, but my men and I are returning to the castle, no matter what Zarkon asks us to do. I would advise that you do the same. Is that like a conga line? Can it be? It's all about chocolate bunnies and lazy afternoons and daisy chains. And all about sun and soda pop, paws on puppy dogs, candy canes. If you take the trooper's advice and return down the mountain, turn to page 49. If you decide to cross the dragon line and continue up the mountain, turn to page 43. And we know everything about dragons, right? We're dragon experts. And we still have Vergana with us, right? She didn't leave. I don't think. We got to cross the dragon line. Let's do it. We didn't come this far to turn back, right? Page 43. I think I'll keep going up the mountain, you say. I'm going with you, says Vergana. Nolly also nods yes. Thanks for bringing us this far, you tell the troopers as you step over the dragon line. You turn to wave goodbye as they ride off down the slope. Looks as if we're on our own, you say. Looks like it, Vergana agrees. And even with the map, she says, taking it out of her boot, I still can't tell where that cave is. Cave or no cave, you say. I think we're onto something. You see that tower up there? That could mark an entrance into the mountain. It also appears to mark the top of the mountain, says Nolly. You ignore his remark and climb towards the tower. That's rude. I mean, Nolly's a dwarf. Wouldn't he know all about mountains? I think we should, listen to his advice. You're almost there when you notice a number of large black shapes in the southern sky. They're closing fast. I don't like the looks of those things, you say. Let's make a dash for the tower. There may be a door at its base. Page 110. Turn to page 110. That's a lot of pages to turn. Okay. The 3 of you race for the tower. Frantically you search around the base, but there is no way in. The black shapes are now clearly the hideous forms of dragons. A dozen of them close in and begin circling the tower. What'll we do now? Nolly asks in a shaky voice. Before you can answer, a huge blast of flame whips across the mountaintop. When the smoke clears, only the scorched earth remains around the blackened stone tower. The end. Yay, hideous forms of dragons. Oh yeah, I guess it's just us and Vergana and Nolly. Forgot about Nolly. Well, that didn't turn out so well. Didn't even give us like a chance. It was like go up the mountain and get killed. Man, this book is harsh. Oh, we already did that. Okay. So I guess we'll head back down the mountain then. Well, we gotten murdered by dragons so many times. Actually, maybe that's the first time we actually got murdered by a dragon. I don't remember. I guess maybe we'll take the trooper's advice and return down the mountain. Maybe we'll find Zarkon again. There is something about this device that I definitely don't like, you say. Let's go back to the forest cover as fast as possible. As fast as we can. I'll second that, says one of the troopers. Jump on and let's get out of here. Fortunately, going downhill is faster for the horses, but it still seems like an eternity before you reach the woods. Something in the back of your mind is shouting, danger! When you get to the woods, the troopers hide their horses among the trees to rest. Then you go back to the edge of the woods and look up the slope. Far up on the top of the mountain, you see black shapes circling. They could be birds, but birds flying at such a great distance would barely be visible from where you are. You know the circling shapes are something much larger. Dragons! I don't know about you, you say to Vergana and Nolly, but I'm going deeper into the forest for a while. I have to decide if I really want that dragon treasure as much as I thought I did. The end. Yeah, we got those gold nuggets. I think that is as good as it's going to get. I mean, I don't know how we'd ever get this treasure. This is a tough one. I mean, you know, how could we have gotten that treasure? Oh, we could have gone straight up the mountain. We can go straight up the mountain instead of taking the winding route. I don't know. I can't think of anything else to try that we haven't already tried. Okay. I think I have a little bit more time. Let's try to go straight up the mountain. Released from Zarkon's spell, you stride forward eagerly, leading the others straight up the mountain. After hours of climbing, the four of you reach the entrance to the cave. It is a shallow cave with smooth, dark walls. All of you search the cave carefully. You find nothing inside, and no openings going deeper. I guess we might as well go back, Nolly says. Wait, exclaims Zarkon. I sense a hollowness beyond this part of the wall. Stand back, all of you. In the dim light of the cave, Zarkon's eyes begin to glow. A ray of light emanates from them, striking the back wall. Slowly, a round spot on the wall begins to turn luminous red. Sparks fly from it. A hole starts to form in the rock, and then grows larger. A strong rush of air flows through the cave and into the newly formed opening. Suddenly, Zarkon grabs his head, groans, and falls to the floor of the cave. His face is very pale. That is the most I can do, he says. My energy is exhausted. The underground forces here are very powerful and do not like to be disturbed. I am not sure we should use this entrance to the mountain. If you agree with Zarkon and try to find another way into the mountain, turn to page 32. If you try to convince Zarkon that you should explore this new opening, turn to page 11. So, do we agree with Zarkon if we want to find another way into the mountain? Yeah, we haven't found we haven't fought any Nazis yet at all, which I guess that's a good thing. Or should we convince Zarkon that we want to explore this new opening? That's kind of a weirdly phrased question. Yeah, we're 12. We know everything. What would an actual wizard know that we don't already know? Explore. Anyone else think we should explore this new opening? explore. Okay. I'm gonna do it. Zarkon, you say, I think we should keep going into the mountain from here. Another entrance may be just as dangerous. You wait a while until Zarkon recovers and sits up with Vergana's help. All right, we'll try it, he says. Nolly, crawl in and see if the rest of us will fit. After about 15 minutes, Nolly returns. The passage is tight, even for me, he reports, but it widens out into a large cavern after about 100 feet. It's very dark. I'll need some kind of light if I'm to go back and investigate it. I thought dwarves had dark vision. I think they didn't need the light. This time we'll all go. All of us who wish to, Zarkon says, looking at Vergana. After you, she replies. Age before beauty. I hope you'll still have your sense of humor when this adventure is over, Zarkon mutters. With this, he disappears into the hole. The three of you follow. You get stuck a few times, but make it through with nothing worse than a slightly skinned elbow and a bruised knee. Go on to the next page. Zarkon holds up his staff. The end of it glows bright red, like a flaming coal. Once your eyes become accustomed to the darkness, the red light is quite adequate to see by. You are in a large cavern. Stalactites hang from the ceiling, and huge, water-carved structures, like half-melted statues, are spread across the floor. Suddenly, a horde of small, flying creatures comes sailing at you. Vampire bats, Zarkon shouts. Shut your eyes tight. Here's the vampire bats coming. But Zarkon's with us, so we're okay. Turn to page 4. Not vampire bats. Wasn't there one where we had to fight, like, a space vampire? Maybe it's from the space vampire. You obey Zarkon's command. Suddenly, there's an explosion and a bright flash of light. The bats turn in mid-flight and vanish back into the darkness. I think we're safe for the moment, Zarkon says. Let's see if I can get a bit more light out of this stick. Zarkon wraps his staff against his arm. The end of the staff glows bright white, throwing light into the farthest reaches of the cavern. You notice Nolly over on the other side, scraping frantically at the wall. The edge of something, a door perhaps, begins to appear under his fingers. I do believe you've found something, Zarkon says to him. Stand back, and I'll see what I can do. Zarkon waves his staff back and forth at the wall. There is a cracking and splitting sound as the wall alternately expands and contracts until this finally collapses with a loud crash. A huge cloud of dust rises from the rubble. As the dust clears, an elaborately sculptured door appears, its metal gleaming in the light from Zarkon's staff. By my word, exclaims Zarkon, will you look at that? Complete with an inscription in Dwarvish, no less. Perhaps, Nolly, you would like to translate. The three of you look at Nolly expectantly, but he stands pale as a ghost and shaking with fear. Well, that doesn't sound good. Turn to page 8. If Nolly's scared, maybe he's scared because he actually doesn't know how to speak, doesn't know how to read Dwarvish, and he's like scared that you put him on the spot. He's like, I grew up with humans. I don't know how to speak this language. I'm sorry. No. It's a curse directed at all dwarves. It's too horrible to repeat, Nolly stutters. It's the entrance to the realm of Tarlane, says Zarkon, the dreaded dragon master himself. He's the one I've come to stop. I, for one, must go through that door. I'm sorry, but I can't go with you, says Nolly. I know, Zarkon says. Do not feel bad. You will find another way to your people. I'll go with you, Zarkon, says Vergana. Someone should go back with Nolly and help him on his search, Zarkon says. If you decide to go back with Nolly, turn to page 74. If you insist on staying with Zarkon and Vergana, go on to the next page. Nolly doesn't want to translate. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what this says. It's too horrible. So do we want to go back with Nolly? It's like, yeah, we've come this far, but I'm going to go back with this dwarf. See you later. Well, so if it's saying someone should go back with Nolly and help him on his search, does that mean Oh, okay. So I thought it was either a choice of us going with Zarkon or Regana going with Zarkon. But I guess Nolly's on his own. Yeah, Nolly, sorry. You're on your own. We're sticking with Zarkon. And Regana. I've come this far, you say. I'm not turning back now. It's all right, says Nolly. I'm quite content to try to find my way alone. You watch Nolly disappear back down the passageway to the cave. Then you turn to the sculptured door. It pushes open easily, and you, Regana, and Zarkon step through. You find yourselves in a corridor with walls of metal and a domed ceiling low enough for you to reach up and touch. When you do, you feel a slight tingling in your fingers. Well, that was a smart thing to do. The corridor is straight as an arrow. You walk single file for what seems like miles. Finally, you see a tiny dot of bluish light far ahead. When you reach it, you see that it is the open entrance to a small circular room. At the opposite side are 3 more doors, all closed. The center door has a small circle above it, with an arrow drawn inside the circle. The door has no latch, but Zarkon presses a spot halfway up the door frame. Silently, the door slides open, revealing a small, square room inside. So pretty much, as long as we have Zarkon with us, we're okay. And if we don't have Zarkon with us, we're pretty screwed. So that's the way to win in this book, is just make sure Zarkon stays with you. I know of these rooms, says Zarkon, stroking his beard. That one exists in our time is strange. They possess a peculiar magic. They can suddenly take you up or down. This one has all the marks of being directly controlled by Tarlane, the Dragon Master. We'd better avoid it if we can. The other 2 doors have latches. Regana has opened one of them. Inside, a steep circular stairway winds upwards. You open the 3rd door to find another long corridor. This one, however, has rough, jagged rock walls. Regana comes over to look. This tunnel is more to my liking than that steep stairway, she says. The stairway is more likely to lead us to where we want to go. But I'll leave it up to you, Zarkon says, looking at you. Because, right, an old, wise wizard wouldn't know as much as we do. Zarkon. We decide to follow the rough-hewn tunnel. Turn to page 101. We decide to take the stairway. Turn to page 24. So should we take the rough-hewn tunnel or take the stairway? I wonder. Tunnel. Do the tunnel? Sure. Do the tunnel. Okay. Never listen to the wizard. 101. Page 101. Tunnel. Yeah, stay with him, but don't listen to him. Let's try the tunnel, you say. At least we won't have to do any hard climbing. The 3 of you go into the tunnel. The air inside is very warm. Soon it becomes hotter and hotter. Finally, you have to stop. Going this way was probably a mistake, you admit. We should turn back. Then, just then, a loud roar from behind you fills the tunnel. A blast of flame follows. What is that? Says Regana in a worried voice. A fire lizard, says Zarkon. They are not as large as dragons, but they can be just as deadly. As you've seen, they can breathe fire. Unlike dragons, they are unable to fly. However, even the smallest fire lizard can outrun a horse. Another roar, much closer this time, fills the tunnel. Whatever it is, it's coming in your direction fast. The 3 of you dash down the tunnel in the opposite direction. Turn to page 55. Suddenly you come out of the tunnel into a narrow slab of rock that juts out over a vast circular pit. You almost stumble into it, but you catch yourself in time and warn Regana and Zarkon, who are behind you. The 3 of you huddle on the narrow ledge, bracing yourselves against the wall. Seconds later, the fire lizard charges out of the tunnel. Unable to stop itself, It sails out over the pit. You see its evil claws flash in the air, its legs flailing in desperation as it arcs into the depths below. A piercing wail echoes about the circular pit as the fire lizard disappears into the void. The sound of its scream becomes fainter and fainter, trailing out to complete silence. You strain to hear the fire lizard hit bottom. You never do. Then you hear another roar from the tunnel behind you. Another fire lizard is racing towards you. Quickly, all three of you squeeze back against the wall. But this fire lizard manages to stop just in time to keep from falling over the edge. It sits there with blazing eyes, watching you. How long can you balance on the narrow ledge, trapped between the bottomless pit and the fire lizard? Not long. Ha ha, the end. Not long, 'cause you're dead now. Woo! Not long. Too bad. Man, we're just... I don't know.
I think that's it.
I think I'm gonna stop here. Whew, yeah. Sorry, I really wanted to find the treasure, but we didn't find any treasure, but we also didn't find any Nazis, so I don't know. Yeah, Stephanie, maybe fire lizard does mean perhaps a dragon? Well, at least we got a description of it, which I know you were saying earlier that we didn't get any descriptions of any dragons, but at least we got a description of a fire lizard. So, yeah, I really wanted to find the treasure, but at least we found, I mean, it says the dragon's den, so not the dragon's treasure. So, yeah, let's quit while we're still dead. That's a good idea, Rob. Okay, so I'm gonna quit while we're dead. Sorry to end on a bummer of a death. Really thought we were gonna make that one, but I saw that it was the end, so I was like, well, it's the end. But oh, you're welcome, Sue. Bye. All right. Well, yeah. I guess we'll stop here. We did get some gold nuggets at one point, so I'm happy with that. We did get to hang out with Zarkon and Vergana and that Nolly dude, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, good try, us. Oh, you're welcome, Rachel. This is fun as always. So yeah, next week I'll read another Choose Your Own Adventure, and we'll have some more fun. Hopefully we'll find some treasure. Yeah, that's us super dead. So, thinking next week maybe the Mona Lisa is missing. So that's a bit more lighthearted, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Welcome, Beth. Welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in 1 week. Take care.